Okay. So today we will discuss about the Lightning Web component. It's developed by the Salesforce, and it is the latest technology. So today we will cover this topic. First, we will cover the introduction. Then we will cover the difference between Aura component and the LWC. Then we will cover the component bundle of LWC. Then we will see the life cycle of LWC. Then last we will cover the demo. Okay. So first, LWC is the latest programming model based on the modern web standard, which use core web component standard and provide only what is necessary to perform well in browser supported by Salesforce. What is the meaning of this? Means Lightning Web Component runs in core HTML and JavaScript. So we can say that it is the lightweight programming language. Before the LWC, uh, user user created component in Aura component, and the Aura component basically also user can create a component in Aura component, but Aura component is not work directly on core Java and HTML. So browser compile the code of Aura component in core HTML and JavaScript. That's why it take more time rather than the LWC, right?
Yes.
Okay. So currently in Salesforce, user can create a component in Aura component and LWC both. Aura component means it's called as a Lightning component, only Lightning component, while LWC means Lightning Web component. Right, we will see the difference between the Aura component and the LWC, but before that I give the brief overview of Aura component and the LWC, right? For the Aura component, we can create the Aura component from the developer console in Salesforce, right? And just a minute, I see you the developer console, so you will get the better idea. So have you created your org in Salesforce?
No.
Okay. I will give you the. Right. So this is the Salesforce org, and we can create any developer org, right? And this is the developer console. From here we can do the coding, and we can create the Aura component from this developer console. But we cannot create the LWC from the developer console. From the LWC, we need the Visual Code, Visual Studio Code. It's a one kind of IDE, user interface, right? And from this we have to create the Lightning Web component. So I give the brief introduction how we can authorize. First we have to create the project in this. Then we have to authorize our org by our credential. Then we can create the LWC component. Okay. So first we have to create the project. Then we have to retrieve the org from the package.xml. Then we have to authorize our org. Then we can create the LWC component here, right? We will see the later in detail, but I give you the brief introduction. So this is the difference between the Aura component and the LWC. Aura component are built using HTML and the JavaScript. Means Aura component is not implemented directly HTML and the JavaScript. So whenever Aura component is compiled on browser, at that time it convert the code is convert in Java and core Java and HTML. That's why it take more time rather than the LWC. While LWC is built directly on web stack. Web stack means uh, whenever any component is compiled, it follows some standard web component of the browser. So we can say that LWC is the faster than Aura component. Okay. Then Aura component cannot be used inside the LWC. We cannot use the Aura component in LWC. While we can use the LWC in Aura component. we can bind the LWC in Aura component. So currently what happened that user can create any component in Aura component and the LWC both technology we can create any component. But nowadays we cannot use the Aura component in LWC, but we can use the LWC Aura component in LWC, right? So the Aura component, Lightning component take longer to build and deliver, means it take more time to compile, while LWC is the lightweight component. Then Aura component are Salesforce platform dependence, means to implement any Aura component, user should have user should have the dependency on Salesforce technology. User should have the knowledge of Apex and the methodology of Aura component. While LWC is pure build on core JavaScript and the core HTML. So from any other technology, any technology, user can implement a component in LWC very easily without knowledge of Salesforce. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Then designer component developer. Yes, this is means in developer console we can create a Aura component in developer console. While LWC is not possible from the developer console, for, for LWC we need the Visual Studio Code or any other IDE, integrated programming environment, right? Visual Studio means it's one kind of IDE, right? Then in Aura component, the data binding between component for properly value is a two-way binding. Means Aura component, there is a two-way data binding, while in LWC there is a one-way data binding. Okay. Then in Aura you can then in Aura we can pass the parameter from child to component and a parent child to parent and a parent to child by the event. In Aura component, there are two types of event. One is the component event and the second one is the application event. Component event means whenever there is a relation between two component, at that time we can use the component event. While if there is no any relation between two component, at that time if we have to pass the parameter, then we have to use the application event, right? While in LWC there is the method of pops up model and the event, and also there is the method of lightning message service. Same as the application event in Aura component. In LWC, with the help of the lightning message service, we can pass parameter from any component to any other component which is not related to each other, right? While in Aura component, they don't use the core HTML and the JavaScript command. So whenever user implement any component, at the time browser compile that code in HTML and the JavaScript. That's why Aura component take more time rather than the LWC. While LWC follow the some standard uh, web web standard like ECMS script is ES6, ES7, and means basically LWC follow standard web component method. Okay.